People knowledge domain. This domain covers essential HR knowledge relating to people. Its functional areas include HR strategy, talent acquisition, employee engagement and retention, learning and development, and total rewards. To perform their job functions effectively, HR professionals need to know how to create and set the strategic direction of the HR function, acquire and develop the talent necessary to pursue organizational goals, maintain a satisfied and engaged workforce while minimizing unwanted employee turnover, and develop a total rewards program that maximizes the effectiveness of the organization's compensation and benefits. HR strategy. HR strategy involves the activities necessary for developing, implementing, managing, and evaluating the strategic direction required to achieve organizational success and to create value for stakeholders. Key concepts. Approaches to project management and processes. Examples of approaches to project management include traditional, Lean Six Sigma, Agile, Critical Chain, Design Thinking, Kaizen. Examples of project management processes include initiating, planning and designing, launching, monitoring and controlling, closing. Project planning, monitoring, and reporting methods and tools. Examples include critical path analysis, Gantt charts, variance analysis, outcome monitoring. Project leadership, governance and structures. Examples include team roles, team management, work breakdown structures. Systems thinking and components of an organizational system. Examples include related parts, systems theory, interdependence, necessity of feedback, differentiation of units. Strategic planning analysis frameworks. Examples include PESTLE analysis, SWOT analysis, industry analysis, location-specific analysis, scenario planning, growth share matrix, real-time, blue ocean. Strategic planning processes. Examples include formulation, goal setting, implementation, evaluation. Proficiency indicators for all HR professionals. Uses the perspective of systems thinking to understand how the organization operates. Informs business decisions with knowledge of the strategy and goals of HR and the organization. Develops and implements an individual action plan for executing HR strategy and goals. Uses benchmarks, industry metrics, and workforce trends to understand the organization's market position and competitive advantage. Informs HR leadership of new or overlooked opportunities to align HR strategy with the organization's. Provides HR leadership with timely and accurate information required for strategic decision-making. For advanced HR professionals. Identifies the ways in which the HR function can support the organization's strategy and goals. Aligns strategic management and planning activities with organizational mission, vision, and values. Engages business leaders in strategic analysis and planning. Evaluates HR's critical activities in terms of value added, impact, and utility, using cost-benefit analysis, revenue, profit and loss estimates, and other leading or lagging indicators. Provides HR-focused expertise to business leaders when formulating the organization's strategy and goals. Develops and implements HR strategy, vision and goals that align with and support the organization's strategy and goals. ensures that HR strategy creates and sustains the organization's competitive advantage. Talent acquisition. Talent acquisition encompasses the activities involved in identifying, attracting, and building a workforce that meets the needs of the organization. Key concepts: methods for creating and maintaining a positive employee value proposition, EVP, and employment brand. Examples include culture, opportunity for growth, purpose, varied work assignments. Job analysis and identification of job requirements. Examples include job requirements and qualifications, task inventory analysis, critical incident technique, position analysis questionnaire. Methods for external and internal sourcing and recruiting. Examples include job ads, career fairs, social media, college/university relationships, talent pipelines, internal job postings, employee referrals. Methods for selection assessment. Examples include ability, job knowledge, personality tests, assessment centers, individual or panel interviews. Employment categories. Examples include full-time, part-time, contract, temporary workers, interns. Job offer contingencies. Examples include background investigations, credit checks, physical or psychological evaluations. Job offer negotiations. Examples include salary, relocation assistance, telecommuting, variable job share. Approaches to employee onboarding. Examples include orientation, buddy system, personalization. Talent acquisition metrics. Examples include cost per hire, time to fill, applicant to interview to offer ratio, candidate yield from proactive sourcing. Talent acquisition technologies. Examples include applicant tracking system, ATS, chatbots, artificial intelligence resume screening, social media to identify passive talent. Methods for supporting a positive candidate experience. Examples include streamlined application process, limited rounds of interviews, fair consideration of applicants' time, frequent communication. Proficiency indicators for all HR professionals. Understands the talent needs of the organization or business unit. Uses a wide variety of talent sources and recruiting methods to attract a qualified and diverse pool of applicants. Uses technology to support effective and efficient approaches to sourcing and recruiting employees. Promotes and uses the EVP and employment brand for sourcing and recruiting applicants. Uses the most appropriate hiring methods and assessments to evaluate a candidate's technical skills, organizational fit, and alignment with the organization's competency needs based on job requirements. Conducts appropriate pre-employment screening. Implements effective onboarding and orientation programs for new employees. Designs job descriptions to meet the organization's resource needs. Complies with local and country-specific laws and regulations governing talent acquisition, such as avoiding illegal interview questions. Advises and coaches hiring managers on best practices related to job descriptions, interviews, onboarding, and candidate experience. For advanced HR professionals. Analyzes staffing levels and projections to forecast workforce needs. Develop strategies for sourcing and acquiring a workforce that meets the organization's needs. Establishes an EVP and employment brand that supports recruitment of high-quality job applicants. Designs and oversees effective strategies for sourcing, recruiting, and evaluating qualified job candidates. Designs and oversees employee onboarding processes. Designs and oversees valid and systematic programs for assessing the effectiveness of talent acquisition activities that meet the organization's needs. Employee engagement and retention. Employee engagement and retention refers to activities aimed at retaining talent, solidifying and improving the relationship between employees and the organization, creating a thriving and energized workforce, and developing effective strategies to address appropriate performance expectations from employees at all levels. Key concepts. Approaches to developing and maintaining a positive organizational culture. Examples include learning strategies, communication strategies, building values, personalized employee experience. Influence of culture on organizational outcomes. Examples include organizational performance, organizational learning, innovation, risk-taking. Workplace flexibility programs. Examples include telecommuting, alternative work schedules, job sharing. Methods for assessing employee engagement and satisfaction. Examples include focus groups, stay interviews, surveys. Job attitude theories and basic principles. Examples include engagement, satisfaction, commitment, involvement. Job design principles and techniques. Examples include job enrichment, job enlargement, job rotation, work simplification. Employee life cycle phases. Examples include recruitment, integration, development, departure. Employee retention concepts and best practices. Examples include realistic job previews, suggestion mechanisms, identifying causes of turnover, predictive attrition analysis, personalized onboarding. Key components of and best practices associated with performance management systems. Examples include dashboard, calibration, user training, goal recording. Principles of effective performance appraisal. Examples include goal setting, frequent feedback, retention and turnover metrics. Examples include quality of hire, voluntary turnover rate, turnover at a specific location or level, vacancy rate. Types of organizational cultures. Examples include authoritarian, mechanistic, participative, learning, high performance. Approaches to recognition. Examples include performance or service awards, spot awards, point-based system, peer-to-peer recognition, personalized rewards. Approaches to supporting employee wellness. Examples include mental health programs, financial wellness programs, stress management programs, work-life integration. Proficiency indicators for all HR professionals. Designs, administers, analyzes, and interprets surveys on employee engagement, job satisfaction, and culture using best practices. Administers and supports HR and organizational programs designed to improve the employee experience, including engagement and culture. Examples include social events, telecommuting policies, recognition, job design, workplace flexibility. identifies program opportunities to create more engaging or motivating jobs. Examples include job enrichment/enlargement. Monitors changes in turnover and retention metrics, and ensures that leadership is aware of such changes. Coaches supervisors on creating positive working relationships with their employees. Trains stakeholders to use the organization's performance management systems. Helps stakeholders understand the elements of satisfactory employee performance and performance management. Implements and monitors processes that measure the effectiveness of performance management systems. For advanced HR professionals. Collaborates with business leaders to define an organizational strategy to create a positive employee experience and an engaged workforce. Implements best practices for employee retention in HR programs, practices, and policies. Examples include RJP, career development programs, employee socialization. Designs, oversees, and communicates an action plan to address the findings of surveys on employee engagement, job satisfaction, and culture. Communicates the results of surveys of employee attitudes and culture. Designs and oversees HR and organizational programs designed to improve employee engagement and satisfaction. Examples include social events, telecommuting policies, recognition, job design, workplace flexibility. Holistically monitors the organization's metrics on employee attitudes, turnover and retention, and other information about employee engagement and retention. Designs and oversees best practices-based employee performance management systems that meet the organization's talent management needs. Designs and oversees processes to measure the effectiveness of performance management systems. Learning and development. Learning and development activities enhance the KSAOs and competencies of the workforce to meet the organization's current and future business needs. Key concepts. Needs analysis types and techniques. Examples of needs analysis types include person, organization, training, cost-benefit. Examples of needs analysis techniques include surveys, observations, interviews. Learning and development program design and implementation. Examples include analysis, design, development, implementation and evaluation, ADDIE model, successive approximation model, action mapping, Bloom's taxonomy. Adult learning theories. Examples include learning everywhere model, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning styles, 70-20-10 model. Learning and development approaches and techniques. Examples include e-learning, just-in-time learning, microlearning, blended learning, self-paced learning, self-directed learning, experiential learning, peer-to-peer training, webinars, gamification, infographics, podcasts, rotational programs. Developmental assessments. Examples include 360-degree assessments, simulations, high potential assessments, personality assessments, skills assessments, competency assessments. Goal-setting best practices. Examples include individual development plans, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based, SMART goals. Career development techniques. Examples include career pathing, career mapping, mentorship, cross-training, on-the-job training, apprenticeship, job expansion, job enlargement. Knowledge-sharing techniques and facilitation. Examples include knowledge maps, knowledge cafes, leadership development and planning. Examples include high-potential development programs, stretch assignments. Approaches to coaching and mentoring. Examples include formal and informal mentorship programs, executive coaching, encouraging a growth mindset. Learning and development technologies. Examples include learning management systems, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, chatbots. Proficiency indicators for all HR professionals. Uses best practices to evaluate data on gaps in employees' competencies and skills. Uses best practices to develop and deliver learning and development activities that close gaps in employees' competencies and skills. Uses all available resources, such as vendors, to develop, deliver, and evaluate effective learning and development programs. Creates internal social networks, such as employee resource groups, to facilitate knowledge sharing among employees. Creates IDPs in collaboration with supervisors and employees. Administers and supports programs to promote knowledge transfer. For advanced HR professionals. Designs and oversees efforts to collect data on critical gaps in employees' competencies and skills. Provides guidance to identify and develop critical competencies that meet the organization's talent needs. Monitors the effectiveness of programs for emerging leaders and leadership development. Creates long-term organizational strategies to develop talent. Creates strategies to ensure the retention of organizational knowledge. Total rewards. Total rewards refers to the design and implementation of compensation systems and benefits packages, which are used to attract and retain employees. Key concepts. Approaches to gathering compensation and benefits-related market and competitive intelligence. Examples include remuneration survey, labor market trends, compensation and labor market data collection, interpretation and analysis. Examples include comparable worth, benchmarking, internal alignment, external competitiveness. Compensation philosophies. Examples include lead, lag, match, lead lag. Compensation plans for common and special workforce groups. Examples of compensation plans include salary, cost of living adjustment, merit increase, bonus structure. Examples of special workforce groups include domestic workers, global workers, expatriates, executives, sales, shift workers, part-time employees. Leave plans and approaches. Examples include paid and unpaid leave, open leave, vacation, holiday, sick, parental, bereavement, jury duty, volunteer. Retirement planning and benefits. Examples include pension plan, savings plan. Other benefits. Examples include disability insurance, employee assistance programs, EAPs, flexible schedule, health and financial wellness programs, life coaches, share purchase plans, housing partnership, unemployment insurance, outplacement services. Other compensation. Examples include deferred compensation, direct and indirect compensation, stock options, tuition assistance. Pay practices and issues. Examples include pay increases, base pay, pay levels, banding, variable pay, pay compression, pay equity, pay transparency. Basic accounting and financial knowledge for managing payroll. Examples include direct and indirect compensation, total compensation statements, total rewards metrics and benchmarks. Examples include insurance participation rates, comparatio, proficiency indicators for all HR professionals, collects, compiles, and interprets compensation and benefits data from various sources, implements appropriate pay, benefits, incentive, separation and severance systems and programs, complies with best practices for and laws and regulations governing compensation and benefits, differentiates among government-mandated, government-provided, and voluntary benefits approaches, performs accurate job evaluations to determine appropriate compensation and benefits. For advanced HR professionals, designs and oversees organizational compensation and benefits philosophies, strategies, and plans that align with the organization's strategic direction and talent needs. Designs and oversees executive compensation approaches that directly connect individual performance and desired behaviors to organizational success. Ensures the internal equity of compensation systems. Reevaluates the organization's total rewards package regularly and adjusts as needed.